And Molly and I are in the garden and we're kind of doing some reconnaissance because Doug and I just got back from the HOA, the Homesteaders of America conference, and when we were gone there was a pretty hard freeze. So I'm coming here and assessing the damage to some of the things in the garden. And I kind of wanted to show you guys because there's one very important thing that I needed to get done today. Well, do you guys remember last week I did the garden tour, fall garden tour, and it was rocking? Well, it's not rocking anymore because a lot of my plants that aren't very cold tolerant have kind of seen their last days. Remember how we had my zucchini rambucante? Well, there's not much left of them. Luckily, when Doug and I were gone, our daughter, son-in-law, and grandkids were here taking care of everything, and they did a great job trying to collect as much as they could of the gardens. It's really neat to see some of these crops that don't do well in the cooler weather, and then some of them that are just rocking. So come on, let's check out a few things. And greens love the cold. So all my greens all over, I have different types of some lettuces, some bok choys. They're looking great. And then there's one herb that really likes it when it gets cold. And that herb is parsley. Parsley loves the cooler weather. I've had parsley, some of my parsley last through January here in the Midwest. So it does not mind quite a few hard frosts, and it does very, very well. So parsley is a good one. And another one that's really good also is cilantro. It does pretty well. Swiss chard is looking good. It's another great hardy green. Peppers say no. Marigolds don't like it either. And cilantro likes it cool too. Sugar snap peas like it cool too. They're doing really well. So this was one of the main reasons I want to get in this garden as quick as I can to check out my sweet potatoes because they do not like the cold. As you can see, the leaves have already turned black. So it's time now, once you get that frost, you need to get them out of the ground because what'll happen is it can travel down into the root or into the actual potato, and then when you're going to store them for future, they will not store very well. So I want to get them out now. So basically, I'm just gonna pull these guys out. So it'll give me room that I can just go ahead and get some of the potatoes out. As you can see here, I planted a couple different varieties of sweet potatoes in here. These are the garnet sweet potatoes, and I think I have a Beauregard sweet potato too in there. And then here is a little bit of trivia for you guys. Uh-oh, are you digging? What are you doing? Maggie taught her how to dig, so look at her, she's digging. She's gonna help me, good girl, you're gonna help me get those sweet potatoes? She found one. Did you find one? Get it out, get it out. Get it for me. Get the sweet potato out. You gonna help me get them out? So here is a little bit of trivia for you guys. And a lot of people are really confused with this. What's the difference between a yam and a sweet potato? You guys know? Here in the United States, probably everything that you see at the grocery store is going to be a sweet potato. Usually you see them in oranges, they might be white inside, a lot of them are purple. A yam really is mostly native to the Caribbean and like West Africa. And a yam kind of has a sort of like a tree trunk, kind of a barky outer layer, and the inside's usually kind of white, sort of like a regular potato. They're very starchy. They're not as sweet as a sweet potato. And that's generally what the difference is. And I guess earlier in the 1900s, a lot of these companies that were selling sweet potatoes wanted to distinguish themselves, saying like theirs is the better one. So then they started calling theirs yams. And so that's kind of how I think the confusion started. So most of us here are having sweet potatoes. Well, Molly is being a very good helper, except for she wants to eat them. And speaking of eating them, you don't want to eat these right away because you want to go ahead and let them cure for just a bit so the skins get a little bit thicker and the starches kind of get more sugary. So generally when you want to cure them inside, you know, temperature, in our house, I probably anywhere from 65 to 75 degrees, and I'll probably do it 3-4 weeks. Or if you have warmer conditions, you know, maybe like 80 degrees, 85 degrees, you may only need to go 10 or 14 days. So you're just going to put it someplace where it gets some good ventilation. You don't want to stack them on top of each other. You want to just kind of lay them out on some newspaper and then let them cure, and then you can go ahead and store them someplace cool like in your basement or a root cellar. She's just like having a 2-year-old. Gotta watch her all the time, don't ya? Yeah, that's a mistake I think a lot of people do when they are doing their sweet potatoes. They're like, my sweet potatoes aren't very sweet. And it's probably because you didn't cure them. It really makes a difference because you want to go ahead and get those starches to kind of cure a little bit so they taste much more sweeter. Good girl. Yeah. Well, I think Molly and I are going to continue to keep getting our sweet potatoes because I have a lot more to get. And as you can see here, here's one. This is a Beauregard. It's a little bit more like, not as red as the garnet. See, the garnets are a little bit more red and the Beauregard's a little more orange. How many of you guys like to go when you're in the garden and when you're digging up your potatoes? It's so much fun to see what you're going to get in the different shapes and the sizes, and some years you get them bigger, some of them smaller. And generally these garnet potatoes are smaller. They don't really get quite as big. These Beauregards are the ones you get those big monster ones and crazy shapes and sizes and all that. So I'm interested to get down here to see what they look like. But my little helper and I, she's crazy. You know, when the sun starts going down, they go crazy and start running around. So we're gonna continue to keep doing these sweet potatoes, and then when I get done, I'll go ahead and we'll bring them in the house and I'll let them cure a little bit, probably 3 weeks or a month, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start eating them. Well, leave a comment. And what do you like better? Who likes sweet potatoes or who likes regular white potatoes better? I wanted to show you guys something. Look at this. See how these have kind of split, some of these bigger ones? We had so much water this year. That's going to contribute to that. We had so much water. Sweet potatoes generally don't like it very wet. They like the end of their season to be drier. The beginning of the season they like a lot of moisture, and at the end of the season they like it very dry. Well, we've had so much rain here. That's why the potatoes really aren't as big as they normally should be. And look, they're splitting. So that's from too much rain. Yeah, look at that. Want to get in there? Stay in the middle. Stay in there, Maggie.